After a disastrous Hungarian Grand Prix, Ferrari are set to take to the track again in Budapest as they try to figure out what went wrong this past weekend and whether they can give Leclerc and Hamilton anything to smile about over the summer break. Or will they find the SF25 is completely screwed with zero potential despite what they've been promising us all season? What's going to happen tomorrow when they have another test to try and resolve these issues? Remington Twitter, your thoughts in the comments. A couple of quick stories around the F1 world to start with. This is one of them. Enrico Cardile, former Ferrari man as we know, is joining Aston Martin. He's basically going to be under Adrian Newey in that technical operation. He was blamed by many for Ferrari's, let's say, shortcomings over the last couple of years. But maybe in hindsight, it's a bit of a different story. There was drama. He was on gardening leave before joining Aston Martin. Rumours swirled he was getting around it, as some people tried to do. Then an Italian court sided with Ferrari, but now it's locked in. Cardile is officially starting at Aston Martin. Now, McLaren Big Data put this together. Ground effect race winners since the start of 2022. Back then, it felt like a different world. Bahrain, Jeddah, Melbourne, then that mid-year run. A lot of blue here when Verstappen was winning everything. And at the end of 2024, you didn't know who was going to win, but this year it's all papaya to the right of the chart. McLaren have literally won the last 4 Grand Prix in a row. It's a 2-horse fight in the Drivers' Championship, and what's going to happen next? Austria showed us one thing, it's heating up between Lando and Piastri. Piastri wasn't as annoyed post-race as I thought he might be. Maybe he recognised, fair play Lando, he got pushed into trying the one-stop. It wasn't favouritism from McLaren, they're clearly trying to keep things fair. But let's be honest, the two drivers nearly came to blows. This image was from practice, Norris down the inside of Piastri, and in the race, it nearly flipped. Team principal Andrea Stella says they're open to continuing with split strategies. That's good for us fans. McLaren already have the constructors well and truly in the bag. So if the drivers crash, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Not ideal, but survivable. Now what's really interesting is the strategy battle. If I'm Piastri behind Lando, why not go for the one-stop? If it's a marginal one-stop versus two-stop, and they're not going to let me undercut, the only way to beat my teammate is to do something different. And that's what happened in Budapest. Remember, McLaren will always pit the lead driver first. So the second driver, they'll need to start thinking one stop from lap 1. At Baku, that might be key. We'll get into that shortly. But this past race, Piastri was set for the one stop. He'd get track position, Norris would have to pass him, and Piastri was going to make that hard. Now, Piastri pushed the limits. His engineer warned him mid-race, you know how we race. Then this move happened. He locked up, nearly took Lando out, took off his own front wing, super close, very marginal. Afterward, engineer says, same rules apply. They clearly weren't happy, but they didn't escalate. If that had happened in Austria, fireworks. But this wasn't reckless. This was Piastri trying something, a dive bomb. Optimistic, sure, but he knows, and Lando knows, don't take your teammate out. Now, a fan asked, would Piastri do it if the title was on the line? Honestly, maybe. Prost versus Senna type situation, final race, title on the line. Would he risk it? Schumacher once got disqualified from an entire championship for antics like that. You can't deliberately take someone out, but a little more risk? Maybe. Strategically, this one-stop versus two-stop debate gets deeper. Pirelli said after the race the two-stop was faster, but Lando managed the tyres beautifully, and Piastri couldn't risk it. It was his own teammate in front. Now, tyre compounds, this is where things get spicy. We're seeing softer choices at some tracks. The C6 in Baku might not last a lap. The US and Mexico are bringing offsets where the hard tyre is an entire step harder than the medium. Why? It forces real strategy choices, makes one stops harder, two stops more viable. Red Bull and Mercedes, let's hit those quickly. Toto Wolff says Mercedes is done upgrading the car. That rear suspension from Imola It's going in the bin. It killed driver confidence, worked briefly in Canada, and now it's history. Russell stays for 2026, but his contract still in negotiation. Toto's keeping Max's door open just in case. Ferrari still struggling with plank wear. In Hungary, they reduced engine power and raised tyre pressures just to avoid disqualification. That's how close they are to the edge, all to manage 1.1 mil of wear. That's it. The difference between pole position and a DQ. They brought a new rear suspension. It helped, but not enough. They still can't run the car at the ideal height. And now they're back in Budapest 2 days later, testing again with Leclerc. Same track, same car, different goals. It's a tyre test, yes, for 2026, but it might be Ferrari's last real chance to experiment under consistent conditions. If they don't get answers now, they may not be ready for Monza. That's the only goal left for Ferrari this year. Not the title, not even wins, just one thing: show up to Monza with a car that can fight. So what happens tomorrow might decide everything. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Twitter's open. Take care. See you next time.